So do you find yourself sitting there thinking, and ever, like I guess, if I'm patient and I wait long enough, then things will change for me and things will be different for me? Or do you think the time isn't right, not yet, and I just need to learn this one more thing and then I'll be ready? Well, in today's episode, we tackle all of these self-sabotaging issues, and we share a 3-step process to slay the change dragon once and for all. Good morning. I hope you are doing fantastically well on this Friday morning. And yes, today we talk about change. And the whole idea of this came when I was thinking about, why do we wait for things to change? Why don't we rather just change? Why don't we affect the change that we're looking for? But anyway, so that's the backdrop. And what a week. It's been an extremely busy week. The summit finally happened on Tuesday, which was absolutely amazing. And judging from the actual feedback, not just, I had so many WhatsApps and emails, and I thank you so much for that, giving some good feedback and so forth. It was absolutely a team effort. It was 27 people that came together. It's not a franchise thing. It's really a lot of people that came together, a lot of people giving their time and energy to make this happen, and I'm extremely grateful for that. So what a summit, and hopefully, I think you'll be hoping us. Please don't speak about the summit again. I've spoken about it so much and sent so many emails and so many WhatsApps, but you know what? It's important. So hence I did that. But so everybody that attended, thank you very much. It was really an amazing day, full of great content. The feedback that we got via the survey, it's still coming in, but amazing feedback, great ideas, inputs, and things. So watch out for the next one, because we're just gonna hopefully make it better and better and better. Anyway, so today I have David Kopp with me for the current affairs, and then Norma is going to talk about, very aptly, it fits so nicely into what I want to talk about, but overcoming failure. So really looking forward to that one. Got a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get into slaying the change dragon. We're going to do that today. Alrighty, so let me say a quick good morning to the people who have said hello so far. Let me say good morning. Tracy was in the house first this morning. Trace, nice to see you. Very good morning. Harry Nell, yes, it is a day to look forward to, right? Mr. Mark Weston Ford, good morning. Nice to see you. Razan, good morning. Welcome. We've got, Jonita, good morning. Nice to see you. Albert Fritz, goeiemorgen. Hello, Nantes. Lekker om jou te sien. Adrian, good morning. Goeiemorgen. We've got Almin, good morning. Almin, it feels like it's been a little while since you said hello. And Mark, there's got to be something in Feb first before we get to the next Propulsion Summit. So watch out. Jakurus, goeiemorgen. And Andisiwe, good morning. So yeah, righty, ladies and gents, let's get this show on the road. And let's start off with David and current affairs. And let's see what's been happening in our neck of the woods.
Good morning or good afternoon and evening for anyone watching the recording. In today's current affairs, we'll be talking Competition Commission, inflation, e-tolls, and unicorns. So the Competition Commission released a press release yesterday stating that today, the 25th of August 2022, the Competition Commission is conducting search and seizure operations at the premises of 8 insurance companies operating in Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and Western Cape provinces. The Commission has reasonable grounds to suspect that Bright Rock Life Limited, Discovery Limited, FMI, Hollard Insurance Group, Momentum, Old Mutual Insure, Professional Provident Society Limited, and the South African National Life Assurance Company, otherwise known as Sanlam, has engaged in collusive practices to fix prices and or trading conditions in respect of fees for investment products such as retirement annuities and premiums for risk-related products, namely life insurance cover, dread disease cover, chronic cover, and funeral assistance benefits. According to the information at the disposal of the Commission, the companies under investigation share information on premium rates for risk-related products and fees for investment products, which enables them to adjust the prices of the existing and new insurance products. The search and seize operations are being conducted as part of an ongoing investigation, which was initiated by the Commission in January 2021. The operations are conducted at 5 sites in Gauteng, 2 in Western Cape, and 1 in KwaZulu-Natal. During the search, the Commission will seize documents and electronic data, which will be analysed with other further information gathered to determine whether these firms have contravened the Act. So in terms of Section 38 of the Act, the Commission is authorised to enter and search premises and seize documents that have bearing on its investigation. The Commission has obtained warrants authorising it to search these companies from the North Gauteng High Court, KwaZulu-Natal High Court, and Western Cape High Court. The search and seize operations are conducted with due regard to the rights of the affected persons. The search and seize operation is part of a routine process of evidence gathering, and we urged all involved to let the investigation run its course. The Commission will at the appropriate stage reveal the outcome of the investigation, said Commissioner Thembinkosi Bonkele. So a very interesting story to watch as it unfolds with regards to collusion or alleged collusion amongst these companies. Then South African July inflation was above the forecasts. The annual inflation rate accelerated to over a 13-year high of 7.8% in July of 2022 from 7.4% in June. Above the market expectation of 7.7% and the upper limit of the South African Reserve Bank's target range of 3 to 6%. So interesting to see that prices of transport, which was at 25% in June, fuels, which is 56.2%, food and non-alcoholic beverages of 9.7%, and oily and fats of 36.2%, and bread and cereals of 13.7% were the main contributors to this increased inflation. So, of course, very worrying that it's the cost of necessities that are increasing and pushing our inflation up. But we are not as bad as some of the developed countries, which are seeing inflation rates of 10% plus. Then on e-tolls, following the delays of government is finally expected to make an announcement on the way forward for e-tolls in Gauteng when Finance Minister Enoch Godwane presents his medium-term budget statement in October. The Automobile Association, however, said that unless government terminates the e-tolls, the system will continue to fail. The association said the government must also reimburse those who have been paying all these years and cancel any outstanding debts. Mr. Gondwane is now best placed to deal decisively with e-tolls and scrap the system once and for all. Continuing with e-tolls in whatever form will yield the same poor results and further harden people's views on a failing system, said the AA. So very interesting to see what will happen with e-tolls in Gauteng during the October session, and the AA very adamant that they should be scrapped. And then when it comes to national animals, Scotland is one of the strangest. The national animal of Scotland is the unicorn. And while unicorns are featured in many cultures over the years, going back as far as the Middle Ages, they are a symbol of purity, innocence, and power in Celtic mythology. Unicorns were first introduced into the royal coat of arms of Scotland around the mid-1500s. The unicorn was believed to be the natural enemy of the lion, which is the national animal of England. But since 1707, in the Union of England and Scotland, the royal arms of the United Kingdom include a unicorn and a lion, which displays the unity between the two countries. And with that, some interesting stories to keep following, but back to you in the studio, Francois.
I missed that story. That's not a nice one. But yeah, let's keep an eye on it and see what happens. Next up, which is going to be very nice, is Norma with Coach's Corner. And today, Norma is talking about overcoming failure. And let's head on over to Norma in her studio and hear what she has to share with us today.
Good morning. So my topic for today is how to overcome failure. I think failure brings up a lot of emotions and a lot of negative emotions for a lot of people. I know for sure for me, in my early adulthood, I really shied away from anything that I think was possibly could lead to failure. And luckily, I don't think, about failure the way I did prior in my life. And it's really something that we can embrace. I also think that we need to sort of, get our own definition of failure. So sometimes we try and measure ourselves against something that, we don't even know what the measure is. So we don't even know what our standard is, and we don't want to go after challenges and do things because we're scared of failing, but we don't even know what that looks like. So I want to share a couple of things with you today. So the first one is exactly what is failure. And then I want to share with you 2 ways that I think of failure. Also, why do we not want to fail? And then also, interesting, what's great about failing? And then lastly, who do I want to be while I'm failing? So firstly, failure is just really, if you go look up the definition, it's the omission of an expected or a required action. So it doesn't mean that if I'm second or fourth, it means I'm failing. It doesn't mean if I don't sign the client. It doesn't mean that if I don't hit my financial goal. We really make up whatever failure is. So failure isn't a fact in the world. It's really just our thinking. It's the way that we view it's the way we perceive it. So how I think about failing is in 2 ways. So we either have worthy fails or we have escape fails. So the worthy fails is that we take the actions and then we don't get the desired result. When we look at escape failures is when we failing ahead of time. So let's look at an example. So let's say I want to host a webinar and I want 100 people to attend that webinar. So I only get 10 people that sign up. So if it's a worthy fail, then I still go and I prepare my content. I learn the technology behind the scenes. I make sure that I give my best content. I show up on time on the day. I engage with the audience. I do my best and give my best presentation skills, and I maybe engage with the audience afterwards. So that is a worthy fail because I wanted 50 to sign up, 5 came to the webinar, and my win was that I learned so much from it. Now, the escape fail is where I fell ahead of time. So the same scenario, let's say only 10 people or 5 people signed up. Now I dread this event. I think it's going to be so much work for only this little amount of people. And I maybe don't prepare as well as I should have. I don't show up on the day. I don't show up on time. I don't engage. I don't give my best presentation skills. And afterwards, I get off the webinar thinking, this was such a waste of time. So my outcome is really that it was a waste of time because I didn't learn anything from this experience. All I learned was, and what I practiced was that I really, felt sorry for myself. So we need to, when we look at failing, want to go for the worthy fails because that's where we learn. So why don't we want to fail? I think a lot of people don't want to fail because of what they make it mean, and then they feel terrible afterwards. So if I fail and I think to myself, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, no one wants what I have to offer, then obviously I'm going to feel bad about it. I'm going to feel discouraged, or I'm going to feel ashamed, or maybe humiliated. Whereas I can make it mean whatever I want to make it mean. So I can make it mean this is a learning experience for me. And then I would feel much better about it. I'd maybe feel motivated to go and try that thing again. Because if I make this event, make it mean that I'm not good enough, people don't want what I have to offer, then I'm never going to go for, go do that thing again. I'm going to avoid doing all the things that I think is going to give me failure. So what is great about failing is that it makes us, it makes us grow. It makes us learn new skills. Take COVID as an example. That face-to-face interaction and ways of meeting people used to be the way that we did business. So now that didn't work anymore. So now we had to find new ways of meeting people. So now what I've maybe learned from it is that I learned to write good copy. I learned to learn technology in a new way. I learned to find people on platforms and build connections that way. So if that didn't happen, I never would have found those skills and actually just increased and honed that skill. I built resilience for failing because if I fail a lot, I get a lot better at failing. So instead of, being disappointed for a week and not getting any work done, I get over it quite quickly. I process it, and then I'm still in the, I'm in that energy of moving forward. So then lastly, who am I while I'm failing? I want to be the person that has my own back, that show up for myself while I'm failing. I give myself encouraging words. I do positive self-talk, and that I show up for myself. And when I fail, I make it mean that I'm still learning. It's part of the process. If I think of myself 5 years into the future that I'm the person that has already achieved the goal, I'm looking back at this failure and I'm just thinking it's part of the process. I'm still learning. So that's what I have for you today about failure. And I hope I've given you a couple of things to think about failing in a different way that's going to serve you to keep on moving. Thank you. I'll be back next week.
All right, there we go. Let's do a couple of quick announcements. And obviously, as I said earlier, that the Propulsion Summit happened on Tuesday. It was an amazing event. Really enjoyed it. I can't believe how quick it went by. After 50 days of thinking about nothing else, doing nothing else, preparing for nothing else, what's just absolutely crazy. So yeah, as I saw the sessions, like there's only one more session left, and I'm like, yo. Really, I think the keynote speakers did a phenomenal job. The panelists, the facilitators, everybody really brought their game to the day. So really enjoyed it. Valuable information that came from that. And of course, we're really, really grateful for all the sponsors and our media partners. So thank you very much for everybody that was involved. Now, if you did miss the summit and you still wanted to do it and still get your CPD, it is now available on learn.propulsion.co.za. You'll see it under all programs. So you are able to go do it there. So you can still purchase access to the summit. It's the full recording of all 7 sessions. And if you complete all 7, you will earn your 4 CPD points. Alrighty, so that's the first one. The next big one for me anyway, is that we are launching Taxspace officially. As you may know, that we did talk about this last week on the show. There was an email that went out and a WhatsApp. But yeah, Taxspace is live. We had really a lot of people sign up. So checking out the trial and all of it. So really excited for that. But I'm doing an official launch this coming Tuesday, the 30th of August at 9 a.m. live. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what Taxspace is, what it's meant to do, where does it come from, and then also what it can mean for you in your business, and then show you a little bit about Taxspace, and also maybe I'll share a little bit about the roadmap ahead for what is still coming to this. But really excited for that. So you can go and register now to join us on the morning at propulsion.co.za/Taxspace. So do go check that out. Alrighty, then. Let me just remove this. Then the last thing that I do want to talk about just very quickly is our next CPD event, which is exclusively for Propulsion Pro members. We are talking retirement and tax, and it's happening Tuesday, the 6th of September. So yeah, these CPD sessions are exclusively for the Propulsion Pro members. So if you're not a member yet, go check it out, propulsion.co.za/pro. And with that, that's that. Let me quickly say, I see there's quite a few people who came in and said good morning. So let me just say a good morning to them as well. Salome, goeiemorgen. Arun, good morning. Nice to see you. Stephen Nell, good morning. Tracy saying thank you to David. Morning, Carol. Good morning. And Alfred also saying good morning. Good morning, Alfred. Nice to see you. Yeah, really appreciate that. Alrighty. So the next up is the feature topic for today. And we're talking slaying dragons. Not any kind of dragon. the change dragon. Cool beans, cool beans. Right, so let's get started. And I guess the first question is, like, why are we waiting for things to change? Like, what even makes us just sit here and think, you know, if I wait long enough, if I'm patient enough, you know, if the time is right, all that kind of stuff. Like, why are we waiting? And I think a big part of this is overthinking. Overthinking is a big problem in a lot of cases. I certainly know that it was for me in the past, and I still battle with that. It's not something that just goes away. You know, and if you think about the things that Norma just shared in her session, it fits into all of this. You'll see that as I go through this, it's going to fit in everywhere, because failure, I think, has got a lot to do with why we keep waiting. But overthinking is a serious one, because we think about these things and we're like, but what if this? What if that? And we, for some reason, some odd reason, some crazy reason, we focus on the things that, but what if it doesn't? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? You know, what about the time that I waste? What about the money that I lose? Like, overthinking, instead of focusing on that thing, just like, guys, that's the thing I want to do. I'm going to go do it. And there you go. Right. So overthinking is definitely the first one. The second one is definitely fear. And also I think my next point is failure. So fear of failure. You know, what would people think about me when I don't make it? You know, as I said before, I've spent all this time, all this money maybe, and I maybe disappoint people along the road. So we overthink all these things. That's the stuff that's at the forefront of our mind when it comes to or what makes us wait for change instead of just going out there and making change happen. The other problem is that we don't have a plan. And we also believe that we need that plan. We need it. Like, without a plan, every business book, every show that you've watched, every podcast that you listen to when it comes to business says you got to have a business plan. You have to have a plan. You got to know step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and maybe even step 11. That's what we're being taught. So now you don't have a plan. You don't know where to start. You don't even know if the plan that you are putting together is the right plan. So go back to overthinking, fear. What if I fail? What if it's the wrong plan? All that stuff, right? So that's the stuff that keeps us from just getting out there and doing stuff. And I think all of this also then partly leads to a lack of confidence. So if you don't have confidence, it's absolutely crucial to have confidence. When you lack that confidence, you'd rather do nothing from that point. The other issue is if you start overthinking all this stuff and you think like, you know what gives me the right? You know, I don't have the skills that those people have. What gives me the right to do this stuff? Like this imposter syndrome, right? It's definitely not the first time you would have heard those two words. It took me a long time to figure out what the hell that even means, because I didn't know. And I didn't understand what imposter syndrome is. But then once I did, I realized like, oh man, I'm a class A sufferer of imposter syndrome. So we all have it. It's natural. But you should stop to care. You should honestly stop to care. The other big thing is other people. Look, I mean, other people most of the time, majority of the time, has your best interest at heart. I do believe quite strongly that people intend good when they say things. They want to help. They want to make it as good for you as possible. They want to protect you from stuff. But the things they tell us and the things they say to us, you know, then goes into the overthinking engine, and we keep overthinking, we keep overthinking, and we get all these reasons why this isn't going to work. Oh, I live in a small town. I don't have internet. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have the skills. I don't have this qualification. I don't have the years of experience. Like, we come up with all this stuff. And part of it is that we're listening to other people. And listening to other people includes watching videos, right? So you would watch people who are at the pinnacle of their game. And you think like, well, like I've got a long way to go. And that's, comparing ourselves to those people are the wrong things. In the session that I do about the 7 habits to build a legendary financial planning practice, one of the first things that I open with is to say, you can't look up to somebody who's already at the pinnacle of their game and say like, I need to do things like that, because you're still down here. I'm still down here. I need to go next step. I can't go from the first step to the last step. Got to go step by step. So we should stop using those people who've made it as a blueprint for how I must be and how I must do. And then you don't get the results and you think like, I don't have it. I don't have the talent. I don't have the skills. I don't have the DNA to do that. And that's absolute nonsense. If they can do it, then you and I can do it. There's absolutely no difference. And then I think another thing that makes us wait, and it leads into my next point actually, is timing. We believe that there is a right time and a wrong time. The time isn't right now. And right now can be that the time isn't right or it's not the right time right now. So, we have all these excuses. And in our heads, they feel like absolute, like they are practical reasons. They are solid reasons. I need to look at them, consider them, and they outweigh the good stuff that I can do if I do implement the change stuff. Right. So let's talk a little bit about this, the right time. Okay. This whole thing about that there's a bad time to start a business and there's a good time to start a business. I don't know how many talks I've listened to or interviews that I've listened to where people say like, you know what, the timing around starting this business. And that person inevitably says, you know what, we just started. We were lucky that it was the right time. There is no good or bad time to start anything. There is no good or bad time to change anything. Today is the best day to start changing stuff. You can't just huddle on and just, because there's always going to be something. Something inevitably is going to change. Something inevitably is going to make it difficult for you. Something inevitably is not going to be available. So you have to be focusing on like the stuff that you must do. All right. So way back in 2010, I attended a program at the Global Leadership Center, which is a Standard Bank venue in Morningside for some leadership course. And it was a 2-week program, was probably the best session or the best training thing that I've ever been to in my life, because that has meant so much in my personal life. A lot of things that I became aware of, a lot of things that I started to understand. So even though it was meant for professional reasons, it actually had a bigger impact on me personally. But at the summit, I've brainwashed myself into a summit. Anyway, so business simulation. We did this business simulation because one of the days were all about financial management. And as part of that, we were sort of put into teams. And there was this business simulation that we had to go through. And you had to make decisions, because what happened is it's typically a business cycle. It's going well. They give you all the stuff. Now we're going into a bit of a down, bear market, recession, call it what you want. And you need to make certain decisions from a financial management point of view. So what all the teams did, including our team, because this is sort of the default thinking, is that we need to stop spending money. Like now, even everybody's talking about inflation and this is a bad and this is a bad. Oh, stop spending, stop spending. We retrenched people. We stopped spending. We cut expenditure, all of that stuff, right? And then we completely lost this whole, call it a competition, this whole thing we lost. Why? Who won? Like there was one team. I don't know if they had inside information. I don't care. I don't know if they just had the foresight or maybe even the kahunas to go and do this. But what they did is they expanded during the recession. So they appointed more people. They did cut certain costs, but they appointed more people. They did not retrench. They spent money on training during this time. And when the market started picking up, they were the ones positioned to be able to take hold of that opportunity. Whereas the others who now things are going better. Now we need to go find people. We need to train them. We need to market. We need to do all this stuff. And they weren't ready. The other business was ready. So there's definitely something to be said around taking the right actions and having the guts to go with what you believe versus looking what all the business books and all the clever people out there are saying around this stuff. There is no right or wrong time, right? There's some stuff. I'm going to talk about the 3 steps in a second, but there is no right time. It may feel like there's a right time, but it doesn't exist. I promise you that. It does not exist. Every day is a day. Yes, some cycles are tougher than others. There are things that happen. Interest rates rise. People have less money to spend on your services because they got to pay more for their home and their car and all that good stuff. Absolute fact. But I promise you, there's always people with money. That's the weirdest thing. There's always people with money. And if you stop doing because you believe that people don't have money, then trust me, you also won't have money. Your business will also not grow because you think that that is the case. But if you decide not to go that route, if you decide that we're going to give it everything we've got, then chances of success is much higher. And even better so, when things do turn around, you will be the one standing out because you didn't hold back. You didn't cut your own expenses in the sense of, let's stop doing all this marketing and let's stop doing all this content and let's stop doing our coffee and tea at the office, or things, whatever it is that you're doing. Be ready. Keep investing. Keep focusing. All right. So let's get into the 3 steps. Step number 1, and I think you may have gathered already as we've been talking about this, obviously this is where it starts. And step 1 is mindset. It is extremely important part to start. When we talk about mindset, I'm talking about what we believe. Okay, nothing to do with religion. Okay, what we believe about all the stuff that we spoke about, what we believe about what we can and can't do, what we believe about our skills, what we believe about the value that we offer, what we believe about our business, what we believe about the profession, the industry, clients, all that stuff. What you believe, it starts with that. It's all the stuff that you say to yourself on a daily basis, even when you don't think you're saying it. Because trust you me, we're thinking a lot of stuff. I'm thinking nonstop. When often, shame, my wife has to repeat everything twice because I tell her, sorry, I did not listen. I was thinking. Although it may not look like I'm thinking, I was thinking. So I'm having a conversation with myself 24/7, which is sometimes great, sometimes not so great. But what you say to yourself is absolutely critical. And what I'm definitely not saying is that we shouldn't be seeing facts for what they are, right? So data is absolutely crucial. Look at the data. What does it tell you? Make decisions around that. I mean, you can't get around that. Those are facts, right? But if you believe in abundance, if you believe in there's always opportunity, if you believe that people open doors for you, if you believe in that you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, those are the things that are the catalyst for you to go that next step and to the next step and the next step. I think mindset is also about the decisions, right? So if you decide that you will do this, right, you're going to commit to this, no matter the outcome. That is a big one. Regardless of the feelings that you may have, right? That's the thing with mindset. It's a decision. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to focus on this. Nothing's going to stop me. And now going back to what Norma said, whether you have success or failure, doesn't matter. You're going to be much better off for it at the end of the day. And I'm going to share a little bit of a story in step 3 as well, that sort of 2 stories actually that will illustrate that. You will figure things out along the way. A definite mindset that you have to have. You don't need all the answers. Guys, when we started this show back on the 20th of March, 2020, I knew how some of the things worked. I didn't have a quarter of the stuff that I have today. I had no idea how to put the lights and make sure that things look nice and none of that stuff. Even my background was yes, it was a battle. We figured it out along the way. Yes, I had a couple of calls saying, oh, your lighting, I honestly did. That's fine. You know what? By that time I had 30 episodes. How many episodes did they do? And I take the feedback because they intend to help, right? But I managed to produce a number of things, even though they weren't perfect, even though maybe they were hard to watch. Maybe my energy was a bit low. Maybe the sound wasn't as great. Doesn't matter. But we did it. So we figure things out as we go. We don't always have all the answers, and we never will have all the answers. I mean, how amazing would that be, right? You could just do sports betting if we knew everything. So that's mindset. Then the next one is step 2 is vision. Now, vision for me, this is nothing to do with the vision and mission and whatever. You need that picture in your head of what you want to do. You need to have a solid reason. Now, very important, like you either need a reason or you need this clear picture. Both is better, but you need at least one of those two. So again, if I may use the show as an example, is that my reason was, Francois, you're going to go insane. Your anxiety is going to stuff you up, six love. You got to do something, right? Go back, no plan. Don't have all the equipment. I don't know what I'm doing. The first 3 shows, we thought we were going to do Q&A. So we just go live and people are going to rock up and ask us questions. How amazing would that be? And who showed up? Terence, right? So poor Terence also only have so many questions. And then we very quickly realized that, oh crap, we need to come up with something different. And that's when the thing started taking shape. I had no plan, no idea, no blueprint, no nothing. We figured it out as we went along. But my reason was what was driving me. So that reason was twofold. The first one was just I got to do something because I'm going to go crazy. And the second one was then I made a promise to everybody on WhatsApp and email to say, guys, I'm going to go live every single day. You know, come and talk to me, whatever. But I made that promise. So I was accountable in that sense. And I'm still today. Like literally, I don't mind sharing this. Last night I sat down in front of the TV at 7 o'clock and I went like, holy moly, I've got a show tomorrow. Because there's so much that happened this week that I completely sort of forgot to properly prepare. And hey, here we are this morning, you know. So those kind of things happen. I think a big part of this is also like, if you think about vision, is that you need to be clear on what is in and what is out, right? And again, you'll figure this out. It changes. For me, it changed a lot of times. So initially I thought, okay, let's do this. Then we're going to do that. Let's do this. Let's do this. But as you learn and as you do this stuff, and do being the operative word here, that you figure it out as you go. Okay. Many things that I don't have the answers to, I don't care anymore. I used to care a lot. I don't care anymore. We'll figure it out. Then step 3 is action. And this was a big lesson for me. I talk about this in the 7 habits as well. But for me, action solves everything. Sitting there on the couch, hoping for better days, reading books, watching videos, whatever, listening to podcasts, means nothing. You need to go out and do it. Even all that stuff that you listen to, when you go and apply it, that's when you really learn. That's when you see things change. That's when you realize, oh, for me, it doesn't work that way, but it works like this, just a little bit different, still in the same way, but just a little bit different. So that's quite important. Now, by chance, yesterday, I saw a video clip of John Maxwell, the leadership person he's got a gazillion books and so forth, and he's a big person in this. But it was a video clip of him talking. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he was talking about, if you're at night in the supermarket parking area and you want to go home, you can't even see your home from there. You have no idea, right? And it's dark, so you switch on the lights. And all you have is this, however many meters, 5 meters or 10 meters, whatever it is, that's the only light you've got. It's all you can see. And what you got to do is start the engine and freaking start driving. That's what you need to do. And as you follow the light, yes, you may know the way. So there's a plan to get home. Well, you're going to drive a car, you're going to switch on your lights, and you sort of know the way. But that's how you get home. Sitting in the parking area, waiting to get home, you're never going to get home. And that was so telling for me. I think it was such a great example of saying, like, look, one, you got to drive. You can't sit there. Number 2, you only have this little bit, and you got to trust the light, and you got to focus on the light and stay in the lane, and you got to do that stuff. And that's what you do. So what a great sort of analogy that he has taken. I think I said this on another episode before, is that often we think, let's just stand still for a second. Let's just pause, right? But the problem is if you stand still, you're actually moving backwards in business because everybody else is moving. And because you're sitting there, they're leaving you behind and they're just moving on and growing businesses and learning and trying and failing and trying and failing and having success while you sit there doing nothing because it's the right thing to do. And because I don't know what to do and because I'm afraid and all of those good stuff, right? So that's what we don't want to do. So it's all about taking that first step, then the second step, and then the third step. You got to keep moving. You got to keep adjusting. Absolutely. Like there's no other way. We've got to do that. And then I was thinking about, let's think about any sports game. Like I'll use rugby as an example, but any sports game, right? Tennis, golf, netball, soccer, like anything, right? When the Springboks, we went to Ellis Park the other day, and first of all, what an experience. But secondly, they have a plan, right? They have practiced. They have moves. They have a game plan. They have everything, right? They have experience. I mean, there's how many people who's got more than 50 games that they've played for the Springboks, never mind how many other rugby games they've played. All the experience in the world. They run out on that field, and then what they have to do is contend with the bounce of the ball. The one thing that they don't know is how that ball is going to bounce today. They do not know what the other team is going to do. They do not know where the gaps will be. That they figure out as they play the game. So yes, they try and win. And sometimes they win and sometimes they lose. We unfortunately lost the other day. The week before we won. So that is it. We shouldn't care about losing, right? But for that 80 minutes that you're playing, you got to play the whole 80 minutes. I mean, the Springboks couldn't go after halftime like, guys, it's over. Like, we're never going to catch them. We're not going to win. Let's just call it like we call it quits now. No. They play until the last minute and then say, did we win? Did we lose? Whatever it may be. And yes, they do say, like, the one team can't win if the other team has more points. But you know what? They're better off for it. They are now more ready for the next game, be it against another team or against the same team. And that is life. That is business. You got to play the game. As I said, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you get better for the next game. Alrighty. So let me just quickly see some comments maybe. Morning, Mary. So Carol says relentless focus. Mark says, Francois, is so often the case you cut through the dark and shine a light where needed. Good stuff. Thank you, Marky. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. It's a bit of a shorter show today. We didn't have one of the segments this morning, if you didn't realize. But thank you very much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. So, yeah, we'll be back next week, same time, same place, with another great show. And have a great weekend. Be safe, be blessed, and prosper, and continue to raise the bar. Love you. Bye-bye.